Well, it's still going on outside. I found out through one of my old clients that people are calling my for other employees, are telling my other employees, our co-workers, that about their illegal surveillance before and the drug confessions and bad mouthing me. These people and their hate crime is not funny. Not funny at all. They're still driving by outside. It's a hate crime on ungodly levels. People need to arrest them. A lot of them have gave up, but they think they're funny. Today, some lady followed me, and I'm rambling in my legally bugged car from the case from Wolf created at the FBI, protected custody, turned over the police, not knowing about the judge's daughter and her bitchy friends, and doing it to me, or he would arrest their dumbasses. I went to Save a Lot today, and where was rambling in the car uh, about the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle, and the other guy, the What a Shame, is two different guys. And I told you they pretended to be FBI before I called Will back, and they said it was a stunt, April 14th. So Dave confronted me before I called that agent back. They had some guy pretend he was FBI. They did do it. Then they drugged me up so I couldn't remember. You talk about bitch. Where I couldn't even get out of bed for 3 days, and I had to get up and mow the lawn to get enough air in my face to even call Sarah, to ask Sarah to witness for me, and then put Will's number in before I call him back to get out to Kay's jeweler. She was gone. Her manager put her in the locker. We go up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. He, Paul Paymer, I guess it was a stunt. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. Dave and I walk off while he's screaming at Dave in front of 75 to 100 people. And Dave comes in, let's go. We get out in the car, you called the FBI on me. I'm like, what did you expect with these people threatening my life? And I had to take care of myself, and he's threatening my life till I'm holding on to the door ready to jump out on the highway. Next day, I have to call Will back, and my head is spinning again. And I only remember the What a Shame guy, not all the other horror. Because they had drugged me up so bad. That's not my fault. I was being victimized. Will really needed to look into something himself. February 25th, 22 at noon, there's a McDonald's on Whipple and Fulton. I think it's Fulton Road. It sits on the corner. A white guy with white hair walks in ahead of me. It's one of the goons from Ravenna. People are getting sick of this shit. He's in there. He's running his mouth. And then all of a sudden, he said, well, her ex-husband had came into a store in Ravenna, told him he had been trying to get rid of her for a while. And everything he tried wasn't working, and he didn't want me anymore. And he asked everybody in that store if they would help. And they agreed to help. And it's been them doing it to me the whole time. And they don't even know how to fix it anymore. Some guy found out what she lived through, even though it was them doing it to her. He wanted to meet her. And some guy named Vito comes up and says, hi, I'm Vito. They're lucky I'm a nice person. I was so mad I couldn't think straight. I was so angry. Then I got to thinking about what Michelle's mother, Memorial Day weekend 2019, food counter, Saturday morning between 8 and 10:30, for it's my daughter, her husband dates. He met her in Ravenna when she was having a stomach spell. It's for my daughter. They did all this for her and our family watching her doing this. And for who's Karen's rich boyfriend but the state of Ohio, who protects her? Mocking me. They're getting paid by the people's state tax dollars to protect me, and it's them hurting me. It was her and her bitchy friends. The bitchy divas, Beverly Hills 911 girls of Ravenna are hurting me. And there's 6 psychotic families. drugging me up, photoshopping me. They said the shower scene was actually done by the guy that claimed he was running it that worked for Michelle. The African American man with a short top hat, with like gray, had a little bit of gray hair in his hair, a little bit of gray in his hair, short top hat, 50s, run around telling everybody he was running it. He works for Michelle, and he made sure he knew everybody, and he worked for Michelle. They said he was actually the one that did it. I have a whole list of people knowing of the photoshopping shower scene more than 10 and more than 10 that I was drugged and told to say stuff before. I have never been questioned with Miranda rights. I have never been prosecuted, and I've never been found guilty. I had bruises I couldn't explain. I had orange size and grapefruit sized bruises. I even had a cut one time on my leg, and I asked Dave maybe I got you with the toenail. It was wide as a cigarette and laid open as long as one. I had a bandage and I had hand marks embedded in my arms, fingers, prints bigger than mine. They said they were abusing me under drugs, sick bastards. Nothing they did is legal nor is it admissible. Them spitting off their domestic terrorism and hate crime is not funny. Domestic terrorism is a group of people furthering their ideology, that's their opinion, by threats of human life and harm to human life. Okay? Against the U.S. government laws. You have a right to privacy. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify for initiating and speaking to the other person in the home is abuse and misconduct. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Who do you report? Anyone for surveillancing you in your home. Department of Justice, FBI, ICE, and local police department. Fourth Amendment right to privacy makes it a legal search and seizure. Can there be a tape before the FBI? No. Can they go to jail for stalking? Yes. Well, I was rambling in my car today of the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle, of how not funny this is. That one heavy-set girl with black hair, tinted purple or red, actually called him. And the guy that said he was part of the 25,000 that Strange hired him at Wood Forest before Christmas of 18. I go to do a night drop. I don't think I chickened out. And I don't think it went into January. He comes up behind me, a white guy with white hair, hazel blue eyes. I'm part of the 25,000. Strange hired me. I want to see her. Well, my oldest John, we were at Minerva Grinders in January 19th. He had a head cold, ear infection, sinus infection, and he's running to the bathroom, coughing up snot. There was men that had showed up and pretended they were handlers, and they were they were the ones hurting me. Okay, they're in the back corner. The white hair guy sitting right behind me. We go in and sit down. I'm like, oh my god. Well, John's running back and forth to the bathroom. And that guy comes in and he walks around me. The one that tried to carjack me, tried to kidnap me, threatened to knife me, walks around. The white man with the black hair and dark. And he sits right behind me. And John's running in the bathroom. It's funny, the waitress sat her beside us. I know, Dave said he tore up her shoulder. And they were talking about having a field picked out south of Ravenna to cut my face up and to stab me to death. John comes out of the bathroom. It's like, a pretty blonde girl right before that. Looks like Savannah. With red lipstick, comes and looks at me and walks off. I was in a restaurant full of killers. I got my kid out there. Before we left his church, that girl walked up to me, looked at her phone, looked at me and scowled. I was looking at her. She looks at her phone. She scowls. Okay. She walks off. I'm like, oh my God. They pay people to know where I'm at. And the guy showed up. That his minister's wife is the biggest liar in the world. Okay? They were up front repenting. Another service I was in there. She's like, you don't ever call that guy again. It's not funny. And she's yelling at him. Okay? I walk by them. They look at me and say, he moved down. Another time when I was down there, he moved down south. He didn't have time to come up and get you. Okay. Another time, there's a van outside waiting to grab her. They're talking to each other. I could hear them. So I waited and left with a group of people, and there was a van ready to pull out. I got my car and left real quick. Another time, for when they find you alone, that's when they'll take care of you. And they just stared at me. These people aren't funny. And do you realize those bitchy divas could have been local heroes? I had the attempted break-in at Perry before we moved out, and he made a mistake and told the officer that they knew where the security system was, and that cop was all over him, that he was part of it. He said a bunch of other stuff, put him in the middle of it, and I thought he was misspeaking. Tell me you go a certain way, follow and remanded by Harold Strange's great niece's Facebook friend. I didn't know there was a hit on my life. The attempted kidnapping and attempted carjacking. Before we move out, realized it was him. Here, within the first 10 days, he's going to the store trying to recruit assassins. They could have went to an undercover police officer and told him and said, oh, we got a special person for you to meet, and got him and nailed him and linked him back to all the attempts on my life. Instead, they thought they'd play Beverly Hills 911, bitchy diva girls, and take care of me themselves. I pulled in Save-A-Lot today. Someone yelled out, you tell that Steve to stay out of it. That Steve's wanted by the police. Maslin officer in uniform, November 24th, 21, 8:40 a.m., Stack here, Wells Road. I'm here to watch her. There's a Steve and Eric stalking her. We don't know who they are yet, and it's finally got funny. After everything they did, nothing's admissible. No, you can't break in somebody's home and watch them. Let alone the shower scene. I already gave you a list of everybody who knew about that one. And the drug confessions before, and there's people that didn't see drug confessions. That's where it's amazing. January 1st this year to the 25th, Circle K gas station, Fulton Road up by 6th Street. I'm waiting for my client to wake up. Use the bathroom. A lady comes in the gas station right outside the bathroom door. Me and my group can verify we made a big mistake being in her home. She's never said she did anything wrong before. Me and my group can verify it. And she was a toxic water lady. The shower scene. They told March at Shine this year that they already knew everything was photoshopped. Edith Oakland apartment, December 9, 21, 4 p.m. They call them all the tapes before were them, not her. Wow, what's going on? It's a group of men doing as many crimes as they can to see if someone will stop him. December 9, 21, white man bald with dark eyes was one of my security guards. He was working at the Stark County Hunger Task Force at 9th Street. Comes out from distributing food. We always knew the tapes before were them, not her, so we never said a word. They were drugged and photoshopped. They both went to the investigators and the police. Okay? I take this back, May 12th, 22, noon at Bubba's Restaurant. There's a big old camera outside on that patio. 6 to 8 men standing outside that have been following me yell out. As those guys drive by, we told those boys. We found a tape of them admitting it was a shower scene in the other room. And none of this is funny. Where I'm sitting alone in my house, it's about just like, well, the only time I touch myself like that is showering. I walk outside, my car's moved. If I'm in it or not. She figured out what they did. Shower scene in another room. May 26, 22 at noon. At KFC, Belden. I go to use the bathroom, order my food, go to sit down. Some man came in. The attorney had it set up so it looked like she was weird with herself, and some idiot man told on him for the shower scene in the other room they can't use it. Always wanted more than one man with integrity. There was an African American lady. Oh, what was it, November, said she was going to extort money. Showed up December 2nd or 3rd at Save-A-Lot on Whipple. Uh-huh. I found out they made all that up too. No one better ever say a word to her again. 8-9 first in the morning, apartment building for me, second closest to the fence, rats out, Dave. Roofie me talks to the police a few days later. May 25th, 22, or May 25th, 21, 6 p.m. Wendy Screw was talking about the church people breaking in before drugging me and telling me say weirdo stuff. I got two witnesses on my phone, Jim and Brian, my old client, told him that he heard it. It was too dark for him. Let's see, 1295 Fairland screamed at him for doing it. Talked to several people. Department of Disability, January 19th, 22, 11 o'clock. I was drugged and told to say it before. They're like, somebody needs to help her. It's like, duh. Where do I keep going? I mean, there's so many witnesses. February 2nd, 22, Burlington Coat Factory at noon. By the men's clothing aisle, a guy that looks like the guy that went to Pamper but younger is probably his younger brother, with a girl with black hair and spirals in her hair. Admits personally, he drugged me and told me to say something. And people ran in and Save-A-Lot. Oh my goodness. They admitted to drugging her and telling her to say it before. Okay? Let's see. And then my client on 6th Street, there's a brown house across the road. They came running out. Yelled it out. That they heard it too because they sold the case to regular people to watch, and the postman's like, we all heard it. They have heard about the shower scene. They have heard about the drug confessions. More than 10 have told on him. The police already know. March of this year, I went to Shine. Some investigators are in there. We could never look or listen to these people's tapes. We would just want their involvement in this. And the hairdresser comes out. They already know everything was photoshopped. They still won't shut up. They said they're trying to stall for the chip to kill me. Do you realize with it just being those bitchy girls and their psychotic families doing this to me, that Henry they talked to is a serial killer that cut me up? He has to be some kind of doctor. June 1st to 3rd, they probably gave him the drugs. Let's just face it. June 3rd, 1st to the 3rd, this year, 22, 11:45, 11:48, I'm going through Dunkin' Donuts. Some guy's running drive-thru. He looks over at the girls and he said, I told that Henry had no right. Well, they said she's a bad person, so they didn't care what, he didn't care what they did to her. Just because somebody calls you a bad person and they lie on you because they're trying to kill you, don't give you a right to cut them up. 12/21/18, stabbed in the neck of the refrigerator. Wake up 6 hours later in bed with a dent in my head. Hair is missing. Skin feels funny. Another man's comb on the dresser. 4-inch bruise under my ribs. And a steak knife with bone and flesh in the sink. And I don't know what happened. And Dave's accusing me of having an affair. And my head's pounding. And I've been drugged up so bad. I went back to bed. My head was pounding. And yeah. And then they framed the FBI March 13, 21 that they had shipped me at Altman Hospital and even told out Dr. Alanatinas. They don't have their surveillance from that long ago anymore. But I'll tell you what, they said their employees will cooperate with the police. Yeah. They're not funny. They have impersonated federal officers. They have framed the FBI. I felt bad. They were blaming the FBI for everything, and where I told the FBI, I thought it was them too, where they said they were FBI around me. And that's why I apologized to them on a tape. They didn't know anything. So these people are funny. Michelle, the Lauren, the blonde hair with the big chest, and the pretty dark hair girl and their sick family, Steve, Eric, Kurt, Chris, and Mark. And their psychotic serial killer friend, Henry, like hunting people up. Corrupting, because Michelle was a judge's daughter that's retired in that county. The undercover police helped out frame me. By federal law for conflict of interest, they couldn't even work a case against me. And they never even mentioned it. That's where it's rich. Nobody mentioned anything. I was being raped, tortured by one of their cops, a dark gray truck, white man, shaved head, dark eyes, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Faith Family Church held him for doing it between July and September 19. It's in the case. They took the case, and even children have seen the rape. Over 50 people have had enough nerve to say it to my face and make fun of me for it in front of people. And I don't know how these people even look at themselves in the mirror, live with themselves, committing heinous crimes. I went in the Goodwill on West Tusk today before I came here. Some woman walked in. We all know they drugged her and told her to say it before. I never talked to anybody, and my ex defended me on tape. You're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids. You wouldn't hurt anybody. No, I wouldn't. Even the FBI building, we all know she never hurt anybody. And I was never weird with myself. Washing, shower scene in the other room. I've never hurt anybody, and I'm not weird with myself. And I don't find those bitchy divas ever funny. Nor do I find it funny, these people participating in this. Even the FBI building, we know she never hurt anybody. Even my ex, you won't hurt anybody. Don't worry about it. Nobody got a chance to drug me. Will said the trust no man. And when people are breaking and stabbing you with needles, lying, their agents using sodium pentothal reports, and they're lying around you. Oh, you said this, you said that. And I'm like, who are you? I've never talked to you. You have bruises and you're throwing up. They'd break in and have leaves in the kitchen and footsteps on the back door and marks on me. And here they were doing it before I called FBI. So to cover your own ass thing, called Dave up in the legally bugged house. I wouldn't hurt anybody. No, you wouldn't. Don't worry about it. You're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids. You wouldn't hurt anybody, Karen. Be pretty rotten she says anything about you. I got them on 2 or 3 tapes. Trust no man. Took that one to her. I've had people come up to me. They've called the FBI. This is really going on. They need to do something about it. I've had over 4. And other ones saying they're calling the police. None of this is funny. I don't understand people finding any enjoyment in this or participating in this. They can't break in and watch you. They can't say they had a quarter to watch you. That's ridiculous. The police laugh at that. It's a legal search and seizure. You have the right to remain quiet, right to a legal representation, a right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond. You have a right to privacy. Do these people know they have a right to read a book? They have a right to have a cell phone with the news on it. They can watch the news. We have a freedom of press. Do you know they have a right to vote? They can go out and say they don't like Biden out in public and they can't arrest them. Do they know they can go to church? They can worship whatever God they want. For every civil right broke, it's 1 to 10 years. Our U.S. government recognizes remote neuromonitoring and electronic brain links as a legal strategy for the truth. Our U.S. government does. It's used in paralyzed patients. In medical field, paralyzed man plays video game with brain chip, and paralyzed man plays computer with brain chip. Medical field stuff. But our government recognizes legal. It's against all basic human rights and all human dignity. They tried it in Guanaco Bay, a military prison, in 2005. And they all got arrested for 20 years. Drugging, beat, rape, torturing, and chipping. So who the hell do these people think they are? One of my guys in my church yelled at one of them, one of the ushers, I don't care who the hell you think you are, you can't do this. Where they've run around, the attorney says no man's allowed to help her. Attorney isn't God. Demon possessed, but not God. And when you realize they're hardened criminals coming at me, for the bitchy girls of Ravenna. Do you see a cop with uniform saying anything to me? Besides, hi, sweetie, are you okay? And don't worry about it. What they did is illegal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just drove by. They need to realize how foolish they are. They said because of their involvement, my ex got away with attempted murder. Someone needs to fix this. I was found innocent at 18 of everything. Even the Ravenna police told the North Canton Jackson Police June of 19, Liberty House shared the worst thing they ever did wrong, honey, is bend over and properly. We can wipe that one up. They only made fun of the back of my knees. I have horrible varicose veins. Wasn't one of my ex-daughter-in-law's mean lies. She was friends with Auntie Shell. See that guy right there? Looks like the guy that went to Paymer. Shave up his face, fill it out, put a little more hair. Looks just like the guy that went to Paymer. Looks fucking just like him. See him? The guy that said that he drugged me up. February 2nd, 22, looks like a younger version of him. And the blonde bitch with the big boobs that said she was dating Dave was driving his blue car. Why? Because their sister and brothers. Mm-hmm. Or it was just the people in that store had been doing it to her the whole time. It's been them. Michelle and her bitchy diva friends and their psychotic families. Serial killers. Nobody else would have done it. Normal people. Do you realize if some old ass would come up to me, I've been trying to get rid of my wife, and nothing I'm doing is working. I don't want her anymore. Will you help? I'd get his plates and tell the police. Will you? Yeah. Normal compensation. I looked up the dehumanizing syndrome that people, when they dehumanize them, it's an antisocial personality disorder. They don't believe laws pertain to them. They're serial killers. I wonder how many other people they've either framed or killed up there. Somebody needs to stop